Someone knows the secret. They were told not to say anything. Not yet. Not before the announcement. Not before the surprise. Not before the right person hears it first. Then one sentence slips out. Maybe at dinner. Maybe in a text. Maybe in the middle of a conversation where nobody expected it. And just like that, the secret is gone. Someone spilled the beans. It is a strange phrase when you picture it. Beans on a table, beans on the floor, beans rolling everywhere. Somehow, a messy little accident became one of the most common ways to talk about revealing hidden information. So why do we say, spill the beans? And did the phrase really come from an ancient voting system? I'm Earl, the creator of Everyday Sayings and Origins. To keep each episode consistent, I use my digital likeness. Now back to the story. Today, spill the beans means to reveal information that was supposed to stay private. It can mean exposing a secret. It can mean telling the truth too early. It can mean giving away news before the right time. It can be intentional. But very often it feels accidental. Someone talks too much. Someone gets excited. Someone forgets who knows what. Someone says one detail they were not supposed to say. And suddenly, the beans are everywhere. That image is important. When you spill something, you lose control of it. A liquid spreads. A bag opens. A handful of small things scatters. You can try to clean it up, but the moment has already happened. That fits secrets perfectly. A secret only works while it is contained. Once it is out, it spreads. People react. People repeat it. People ask questions. And the person who revealed it cannot simply put it back. That is probably why the phrase feels so natural. Information can behave like something spilled. It escapes its container. It spreads beyond where it was supposed to go. And once it is loose, it is hard to gather back up. But where do the beans come from? That is where the famous origin story begins. One popular explanation connects the phrase to ancient Greek voting. According to that story, people voted by placing beans into a container. A white bean might mean yes. A dark bean might mean no. The votes were supposed to stay secret until they were counted. But if someone knocked over the container and spilled the beans, the result would be revealed too early. The secret vote would no longer be secret. That story is easy to understand. It gives the phrase a clear scene. A container. Hidden beans. A secret result. One spill. The truth revealed. That is exactly what the phrase means today. So it is no surprise this explanation became popular. It feels satisfying. It connects the words to an actual physical event, and it makes spilling the beans almost literal. The beans were the hidden information. Spilling them revealed the secret. That is a strong story. But it may not be the whole truth. The problem is that many phrase origins sound good because they explain the words neatly. That does not always mean the evidence is solid. The ancient voting story may be a folk explanation. It may be connected to real practices involving beans. But that does not prove the modern English phrase came directly from ancient Greece. That is the careful distinction. People may have used beans in voting. Spilling a container of votes could reveal something. But the phrase spill the beans, as we use it in English, appears much later. That creates a gap, and gaps matter. Language history is full of stories that are believable, memorable, and repeated, but still hard to prove. Spill the beans is one of those cases. The Greek voting theory may explain the image beautifully, but the stronger evidence points in another direction too. The word spill itself has been used for a long time in a figurative way, not just spilling water, not just spilling food, but spilling information. To spill could mean to let something out, to reveal, to disclose, to pour out words that maybe should have stayed inside. That older figurative meaning may be the real foundation of the phrase. In other words, people were already using spill to mean reveal before the full phrase, spill the beans, became common. That makes sense. We still say spill it when we want someone to tell us something. Someone says, I have news. The other person says, spill it. No beans needed. The meaning is clear. Let the information out. Tell me what you know. Stop holding it back. That tells us the spill part of the phrase is doing a lot of the work. The beans may have been added later because they made the image more vivid. Instead of only spilling information, someone spills the beans. Now the secret feels like a pile of small objects scattered in public. That is more memorable. It is also more playful. Reveal the secret sounds formal. Spill the beans sounds human. It sounds like someone talked too soon and made a mess. That is exactly the kind of phrase people like to use in ordinary conversation. There is another clue in how the phrase feels. Spill the beans often sounds slightly informal. It belongs to everyday speech. It can be used for gossip, surprises, family news, office secrets, or hidden plans. That casual tone fits a phrase that likely became popular in modern slang rather than one preserved unchanged from ancient history. That does not mean the ancient story is worthless. It may still help explain why beans work so well as an image. Beans have been used as counters, votes, food, and small countable objects for centuries. They are easy to hide, easy to count, easy to spill. So the image of spilled beans revealing something is not random. It makes sense. But the direct line from ancient Greece to the modern phrase is uncertain, and uncertainty is not a problem. It is part of the story, because this phrase is a perfect example of how a good origin story can become almost as famous as the phrase itself. People love the Greek voting explanation because it feels like a secret being revealed about a phrase about revealing secrets. That is almost too perfect. A hidden origin for a phrase about hidden information, but history does not always arrange itself that neatly. Sometimes the best answer is less dramatic. The phrase may have grown from the older figurative use of spill, meaning reveal. Then beans gave the expression a concrete image. Then people later connected it to old voting stories because that explanation fit the words so well. That kind of layering happens all the time. A phrase starts in ordinary speech, a memorable story attaches to it, the story spreads, then the story becomes what people remember. At that point, the phrase has two histories, the likely language history and the popular story history. Both matter, but they are not the same. The likely language history tells us how people use the words. The popular story tells us why the phrase feels so satisfying. With spill the beans, both point toward the same basic idea. Hidden information becoming visible too early. That is the heart of the phrase, and it is probably why the phrase survived. Secrets are one of the oldest human situations. Families have secrets. Governments have secrets. Businesses have secrets. Friends have secrets. Children have secrets. Every group of people has information that some people know and others do not. That creates tension. Who knows? Who is allowed to know? Who will say something first? Who can be trusted? A phrase like spill the beans gives that tension a picture. The secret is not just told, it spills, it scatters, it becomes visible, and once it spills, the situation changes. That is why the phrase is often used after the damage is done, not while the secret is safely hidden. After the surprise party is ruined, after the private plan is mentioned, after the hidden truth reaches the wrong ears, after someone says, "Wait, I was not supposed to know that." That is the moment of spilled beans. The room changes, the conversation stops. Everyone realizes the secret is no longer contained, and the person who said it may immediately regret it. That is different from confessing. Confessing can be serious. It can be intentional. It can involve guilt, honesty, or responsibility. Spilling the beans often feels messier. It can be accidental. It can be careless. It can happen because someone was excited or pressured or simply talked too much. That makes the phrase useful in a wide range of situations. A child spills the beans about a birthday present. A coworker spills the beans about a new project. A friend spills the beans about an engagement. A witness spills the beans about what really happened. A celebrity spills the beans in an interview. The phrase can be light or serious depending on what was revealed. That flexibility helps it last. It also has a nice sound. Spill the beans. 3 words, simple rhythm, a strong verb, a familiar object. You can say it quickly. You can say it with a smile. You can say it with frustration. You can say it as a command. Come on, spill the beans. That command form is important. The phrase is not only used after someone reveals a secret, it is also used when someone wants the secret revealed. If a person says, "I know something but I cannot say," the other person might say, "Spill the beans." That means, tell me, stop hiding it. Let the secret out. The phrase works before and after the reveal. Before, it is pressure. After, it is explanation. That makes it even more useful, and useful phrases survive. There is also something slightly comic about beans. Beans are ordinary. Beans are not elegant. They are not jewels. They are not secret documents. They are small, common, everyday things. That gives the phrase a down-to-earth feeling. If someone said spill the diamonds, it would sound too fancy. If someone said spill the scrolls, it would sound too ancient. But beans feel simple, human, messy, almost silly. That silliness softens the act of revealing a secret. It lets people talk about a mistake without sounding too formal. That is why the phrase is comfortable in everyday speech. It can describe real consequences, but it does not sound like a courtroom statement. It sounds like something said across a kitchen table. That may be one reason it works so well for gossip. Gossip often lives in that space between secrecy and entertainment. People know they maybe should not talk, but they want to know. They want the details. They want the hidden thing brought into the open. Spill the beans fits that mood. It sounds playful, even when the information matters. That playfulness can also make the phrase dangerous, because revealing a secret is not always harmless. Sometimes spilling the beans ruins a surprise. Sometimes it embarrasses someone. Sometimes it breaks trust. Sometimes it changes relationships. The phrase may sound light, but the action can be serious. That is another reason the spilled image works. A spill is easy to cause and hard to reverse. One careless move, one loose sentence, one moment of bad timing. Then the cleanup begins. But even if you clean up the floor, the spill happened. Everyone saw it. The same is true with information. Once someone knows, they know. You cannot make them unknow it. That is the real power inside the phrase. Secrets are fragile because knowledge cannot be unlearned. You can apologize. You can explain. You can ask people not to repeat it. But the original hidden state is gone. The beans cannot be perfectly unspilled. That is why people react strongly when someone reveals something too early. It is not just the information, it is the loss of control. Who had the right to reveal it? Who was supposed to hear it first? Was the timing important? Did someone break trust? Those questions often matter more than the facts themselves. A surprise pregnancy announcement, a job change, a private illness, a planned proposal, a company decision, a family secret. In each case, the information has a proper time and place. Spilling the beans means that order was broken. The container opened too soon. That brings us back to the bean voting story. Whether or not it is the exact origin, it captures something true about secrecy. If the beans represent hidden votes, then spilling them reveals not only information, but timing. The votes were supposed to be counted later. The result was supposed to come out in an orderly way. The spill ruins that order. That is exactly what happens with secrets. They often are not meant to stay hidden forever. They are meant to be revealed at the right time. Spilling the beans reveals them at the wrong time. That is why the phrase is stronger than simply telling. It is telling too soon, telling carelessly, telling before the secret was ready to be public. That timing is the emotional center of the saying. So, why do we say spill the beans? The most honest answer is that the exact origin is uncertain. The famous story connects it to ancient voting with beans, where spilling the container would reveal a secret result before it was time. That story is memorable and may explain why the image feels so right. But the phrase also likely grew from the older figurative use of spill, meaning to reveal or let information out. The full phrase became especially common much later, and the beans may have strengthened the image. A secret is hidden, a person talks, the information spills, and once those beans are out, the mess cannot be completely undone. That is why the phrase still works. It turns a secret into something small, visible, scattered, and impossible to put back exactly the way it was. A few careless words. A sudden reveal. A room full of people who now know. That is what it means to spill the beans. If you enjoyed discovering the story behind this everyday saying, subscribe to Everyday Sayings and Origins. Each episode uncovers the hidden history behind the words, phrases, rhymes, and traditions we use without thinking. I'm Earl. Stay curious, and I'll see you in the next origin. Peace.